Tonight, Minister of Sport talks about strengthening good governance in sports. Local NGO Amatafua secure grant of more than €230,000 for Aliluki and Tufukia, and Walk for Life kicks off the 49th Constitution celebration events. Good evening, I'm Esther Pavihi and welcome to tonight's bulletin of BCN News. Leading the news tonight, Minister of Social Services and Minister of Sports, Sonia Talangi, said that the meeting called for all sports leaders and representatives last week was an important opportunity to bring everyone together to have a civil and construction discussion about sports in Niue. In an interview with BCN News, Minister Talangi said while it's not the intention of the government to intervene in sports affairs, it was clear that something needed to be done to address the issues around governance and the need to strengthening accountability and transparency in sports on the island. Here's more. Minister Sonia Talangi called the meeting between the sports codes and the government last week. This is the first meeting since the impasse between the sports governing body NISCA and the sports codes, which started in the lead-up to the Team Niue's participation at the last Commonwealth Games in 2022. At that time, the government did not step in to attempt to resolve the impasse. Earlier this week, I asked Minister Talangi why she decided to call the meeting last Thursday.
As a member of the public, it was really sad for me to hear what was the position of sports and the different codes within Niue with respect to NISCA. And it's just something I thought needed to be done. There is no intent for the government to interfere with the operations of each of the sports codes or even NISCA itself. However, it's become clear that good governance, transparency and accountability frameworks need to be strengthened. And that is an element I think the government should have some say in, particularly when there are bodies saying that they represent, they're a national body of Niue. If you're a national body of Niue, whether it's sports or any other NGO on Niue, there are national responsibilities that need to be taken into account as well. So I'm very grateful that for all of those individuals that attended representing the sports codes, the various sports codes of Niue last week. I'm also grateful that the president of NISCA was also in attendance. It was important to bring everyone together to have a civil, constructive discussion because we're all passionate about sports in Niue and we want to present those opportunities fairly to all of our children that are coming up.
Minister Talangi said that one of the key concerns raised by the sports codes leaders and representatives at the meeting was over the selection of Team Niue athletes to the Pacific Games to be held in the Solomon Islands next month. She told BCN News on Tuesday that the government will not interfere in the selection of athletes for regional and international competitions, but she is aware of the concerns about the selection of athletes.
On a personal level, I was really disappointed to be made aware of that. A lot of the wheels had already started turning before I became Minister of Social Services, and in saying that the responsibilities under each of the codes was also delegated to our diaspora overseas, and in that respect, this is where we didn't want to, and we don't want to interfere with those types of selections if that is the mandate that the codes in Niue have given to them. But in saying that, I mean, I recall the different codes on island fundraising and training and preparing for SPG and other games on Niue. Really, it was also this instance that people were being selected primarily from overseas rather than Niue. That was another prompt that we need to have this meeting to try and get to the core issues now and help everyone move forward in a positive way for Niue.
The Pacific Games will be held in the Solomon Islands next month. BCN News has reached out to NISCA executive for more information on the teams representing Niue at those games. It's understood the majority of athletes selected to represent Niue at the Pacific Games are athletes based in New Zealand and Australia. The Minister of Sport said she is optimistic that the first meeting with the sports fraternity on the island was constructive and informative and a good start to mending relationships and developing the way forward, working together with NISCA. But there was certainly a lot of hurt and frustrations that she saw. Commissioner Ida Talangi Hekesi has confirmed that the Public Service Commission's investigation into 2 separate incidents at the Niue Health Department will be completed and a report is expected next week. In a statement to BCN News, Commissioner Talangi Hekesi said, the Niue Public Service Commission continues to strongly advocate for transparency and is committed to patient safety and accountability. Here's more. The chairperson of the Public Service Commission, Ida Talangi Hekesi, told BCN News that the investigation is still in progress. 3 weeks ago, the Commission invoked their investigation after receiving questions from Midday and BCN News over 2 incidents at the Health Department several months ago. One incident involved patients' medical records mistakenly given to another patient on referral to New Zealand. The second incident is with regards to allegations of overprescription of controlled drugs called benzodiazepines. BCN News has reached out to MedSafe New Zealand for comment on the pharmaceutical rules around the orders and prescription of controlled drugs. Minister of Health Sonia Talangi is aware of the allegations and is working with the department to ensure the errors are not repeated. Minister Talangi said the shortage of medical staff is also impacting on the work of the department, a concern that is facing all countries with staff shortage in the health sector. The Public Service Commission is the employing authority of the government and also responsible for the management of the efficiency and effectiveness of the public service. As we head into the 49th Constitution celebrations, here's another look at the program of events. This afternoon, the Walk for Life annual event kicked off the calendar of events, leading up to the flag-raising day on Thursday next week, October 19th. Here's Losana Sioniholo with the calendar of events for this year's celebrations.
At 4:30 p.m, the Walk for Life event started from the Niue Hospital car park, organized by the Health Department. The event held annually is organized by the Health Department to raise awareness about the different forms of cancer and to remember those who lost their lives to this disease and join those who survived cancer or still going through treatment. The Avasele Village Show Day on Saturday, the 14th, at the Village Green, starting at 8 a.m. But if you want to get some food, you will have to go earlier. On Sunday, the 15th, is the National Service for Healing and Reconciliation at the Millennium Hall. This is the annual pre-Constitution service and will start at 4 p.m. On Monday the 16th, the Niue Island Fishermen's Association Reef Fishing Competition will start at 6 a.m. and the Aliutu Women's event will start at 8 a.m. at the Aliutu Hall. There are several events on Wednesday the 18th of October, starting with the World Food Day Expo, starting at 6 a.m. at the Marketplace. On the same day is the first day of the golf tournament, starting at 7 a.m. at the Niue Golf and Sports Club. In the afternoon on Wednesday the 18th is the third rugby league test between the Fisi and Motu, starting at 3:30 in the afternoon at Paliasi. And also Wednesday afternoon at the Taonga Niue Auditorium is the USB alumni event. This event is open to the public and if you want to listen to discussions on the Constitution and self-government. On Thursday, the 19th of October, is the flag-raising day, starting at 11 a.m. at Whalefona 2 at Halamahanga. The Waka race will start the events on the 19th at 6 a.m., organised by the Niue Waka Association. The fishing and golf events will continue on Friday, the 20th of October. The National Show Day will be held on Saturday, the 21st of October at the Paliasi School grounds. More on the 49th Constitution celebrations calendar of events in our bulletins next week.
And local NGO Omatafua is one of 4 recipients of the Kiwa Initiative grants. Omatafua will receive a grant total of €234,000 or around about 400,000 New Zealand dollars. The project in Niue focuses on community-based disaster risk management in the Aliluki and Tufukia area through a development of an adaptation action plan, coastal restoration, and the empowerment of youth and vulnerable groups in climate resilience. According to the Kiwa Press statement, the project for which Omatafua's application was approved for is for a community-based disaster risk management in the Aliluki and Tufukia areas, coastal restoration, and empowering young people and vulnerable groups. The project in Niue focuses on community disaster risk management and through the development of an adaptation action plan, coastal restoration, and empowerment of youth and community groups in climate resilience. The project site was selected due to its heritage, historical and ecological significance, and also due to the devastation of the area by Cyclone Hata in 2004. Omatafua founder and president Alana Fiafia Rex, in a statement to BCN News, said that all agencies, government and non-government organisations, can apply for funding if they commit time to it, but she hopes that the government will help out with some of the project proposal applications because the process is lengthy and many small community groups may not have the capacity to access funding due to the application process, which Alana Fiafia Rex said can be quite arduous. The Kiwa initiative, launched in 2020, provides grants for both local and regional scale projects in 19 eligible countries and territories in the Pacific. While the new projects are announced, a new call for proposals was also launched in September, which runs until November 12. Interested parties can submit a concept note either for a very small grant, which ranges from €25,000 to much larger grants at €400,000. A memorial service for former Minister, the late Honourable Poko Sipeli, was held in Sydney over the weekend. Premier Dalton Tangilangi and his staff attended the memorial service held at the Penrith Uniting Church. Images provided for the story are from Reverend Liva Tukutama. The family of the late Honourable Poko Sipeli will be bringing him home on Monday next week.
New Sydney community leaders attended the memorial service, including Reverend Dr. Howard Jackson and his wife Rita and Reverend Liva Tukutama. Former Director of Tourism Roadworks was also at the memorial, joining the Sipeli family in the memorial service. BCN News understands that some of the family members will not be able to travel to bring Honourable Sipeli home. Honourable Bokotoa Sipeli, who passed away on the 29th of August in Australia, will be brought back to Niue next week on the 16th of October. The funeral service for the former minister will be held on Tuesday, the 17th of October, at his residence in Liku.
The tar sealing of the roads part of the China First Railway Group contract has stalled this week with the breakdown of the government crusher at the quarry. Parts have arrived and the crusher will be working to produce the aggregate for the roadworks. Blasting of the rock face at Tangawaka Quarry will also take place tomorrow afternoon. Here's more on the roadworks this week.
This week, traffic controls were in place in areas including Tabiu Hill as the roadworks contractor China Railway First Group started their work there. The Telecom Anywhere Power have also drenching at Tabiu Hill, so motorists are asked to plan for delays or choose alternative routes. Director of Utilities Clinton Chapman confirmed to Midday News today that the parts for the government's crusher at the quarry have arrived. The tar sealing of the roads with the China First Railway Group is temporarily on hold due to the lack of aggregate with the crusher out of order. Chapman said that while the team are fixing the crusher, they will also be blasting more rock at Tangawaka Quarry tomorrow afternoon. People planning to travel towards Tamakotonga on the bottom road should take note that the road will be closed half an hour before blasting. Residents living close to Tangawaka Quarry should also take note that the blasting of the rock face will take place at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Friday the 13th of October. The blasting will start from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Meanwhile, the tar sealing of the roads will resume next week from Avasele to Tamakotonga and Hikutavaki. The Alofi North and Alofi South residents are advised that the road contractor China First Railway Group has started baking and marking the locations for the new street lights. The road project with China First Railway Group is scheduled to be completed by October next year.
And to end the news tonight, as we head into the next cyclone season, the team at the National Disaster Management Office will be hosting an awareness session on tomorrow on Radio Sunshine. The team will promote awareness on the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction with the theme Fighting Inequality for a Resilient Future. Robin Hickau told BCN News earlier this week that only 7 villages on the island have a disaster management plan. Most of them are now out of date. The cyclone season for Niue will start in November and will run through until April next year. The National Disaster Management Awareness Program will be on Radio Sunshine tomorrow, Friday, starting from 10 till 11 a.m. And also remember to go along and join the folks of Avasele Oneonepata on Saturday for their annual village show day. But that's our bulletin of news for tonight. Do join us again on Tuesday next week where we bring to you the bulletin in Wangahau Niue. Until then, Morine po, good night, nonofua.